Welcome back to the CEOs of the Six. This is the space on the internet that celebrates bold, brilliant women building beautiful lives and businesses right here in Toronto. Now, before we dive into today's soul-stirring conversation, I have a little request for you guys. If you're really about supporting women, the easiest and most impactful way to do that is to subscribe right now to this channel. It's completely free for you guys. But what it does is it helps amplify the voices of women who are out there breaking barriers, taking risks, and building dreams, and doing it all with heart. This entire platform was born to spotlight those women in every stage of their business, whether you're just starting out or scaling to new heights or somewhere in the messy, beautiful middle. Because let's be honest, we hear from the people who've made it, but there's so much wisdom, beauty, and resilience in the stories for those that are still in the grind and in the climb. Those are the women who deserve to be seen, to be heard, and to be celebrated right now. So hit that subscribe button. My guest today, oh my heart, she's the definition of divine feminine energy. She's soft, she's soulful, she's so serene, and there's this undeniable strength and boldness that lives in her every word and every image she captures. She's the kind of woman who will gently crack you open just by asking a simple question. And then suddenly you're peeling back all these layers you didn't even know existed. To me, she's like a big sister, the kind who sees you, who really, really sees you and calls out your highest self without even trying. I'm basically like that melty emoji in her presence every single time. And she's actually responsible for all the beautiful photographs you see across Doll Me Up, and her ability to capture the feminine in all its complexity, be it motherhood, power, softness, seduction, stillness, is nothing short of art. So get ready for a powerful, vulnerable, deeply rich conversation about femininity and all the above that I mentioned through the lens of portraiture. Please welcome the incredibly gifted, endlessly wise, and forever inspiring Prachi Rathore from Rathore Portraits. Welcome, Prachi. So nice to have you here. You're literally one of my favorite people in this entire world.
Wow.
You're
No
somebody
pressure.
no pressure. No, you're like that older sister that I've always wanted in my life. And I don't know, I become this complete vulnerable individual in your space. I don't know why you managed to draw that out of people. You certainly have with me. I don't have to be a tough guy around you, and I love that, and I'm so thankful
Oh,
for
I
it.
love you.
No, I love you too. So thank you for coming on. I feel like we have so many conversations together that it was just about time we
Thank you
recorded
for
it.
having me, baby girl.
So I want to kind of start from the beginning and talk to you a little bit about your photography journey. Like, how did it all start for you?
Okay, in life, I think the duality of wanting to hold on, yet having to move forward. So, how do you do that? I think pictures, images of a time that was, but I need to move forward because I can't hold on to it. I think from the beginning, images draw me in. Images with emotions that stir emotions. And then, I don't know, it just happened.
It just happened. You picked up a camera one day and you, like, what was that like? Did you have a camera?
No, I think when the kids were born and just holding on to that. And then it just progressed and progressed to wanting to hold on. And maybe even somewhere along the way, being able to give that to others.
Right.
You know, you do it for yourself, but because it makes you feel so grateful that this is your life, this is what you've gone through. And then maybe other people want to hold on to it too. So offering that, hey, this is a piece of your life. You can have it.
So is that kind of what drew you into focusing on motherhood and baby portraits? Because I know that's what you were doing for quite some time, and your baby portraits are just out of this world. Like, all your photos, they look like they're paintings. Like, I want to put it in this like beautiful French, photo frame, and I want your photos all over my house. Like, I know it sounds a little creepy, but I think when I buy a bigger house, I'm just gonna have a room dedicated to your photos, like a Prachi gallery.
I like that.
Like I know this sounds just a bit much, but I'm that obsessed with your work.
Thank you. So to me, yeah, it started with babies because I worked in the NICU. And then I was like, I need to do something else.
You worked in the NICU. Okay.
I did.
Tell me a little bit about that.
I was a nurse. I was a nurse before.
Like RN, RPN?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
RN in the NICU for about 13 years.
I did know that actually. Sorry.
I think you did.
Yeah, I think we had this conversation when
like
we
a blip.
first met.
Yeah.
And then I was like,
Yeah, whatever.
But,
Let's get this work
it's
done.
in my subconscious mind now. But yeah, tell me more.
So, no, just NICU. And then was just one of those things. Actually, my husband said to me, why don't you do baby pictures? I'm like, you know what? You're right. I can because I'm good with kids.
And you have the
babies.
clients.
Yeah.
You can scout them right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's
And-
my card.
Yeah, it did kind of
Just
start
right out
like
of
that,
labor.
100%. It started that way. My life changed and my journey changed. I've seen that transition happen because then it was first my kids were young, so I wanted the babies. Then they grew older, and then I started to see myself changing as a woman and the phases of my life changing. So I got drawn more and more into that change
Right.
and chapters changing and
Your craft evolved with you,
correct.
essentially.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
And so
that
I
makes
just started
sense.
to notice women changing along with their motherhood journey. And you're not just a mom then, right? You start to, I feel, once you're a mom, there's a phase, and then you start to lose a little bit of yourself in that motherhood.
Yes.
So how do you,
Bring that back.
or hold on to it
Right.
still? Your mom, sure, your mom, you got kids, but there's a part of you that existed before and is still there, but it's kind of in the back burner. So how do I bring that forward? Just for women without their children, I think. So it just kind of like
I love that.
went forward that
To
way.
kind of, I hate to use that word so loosely, but like empower themselves again.
Yes, yes.
Right?
Yes,
To
because
just bring that spirit
yes.
back into
Yeah.
into their system, I guess, because they're just constantly giving themselves away.
Yeah. Non-stop.
Non-stop.
And unconditionally, right?
Unconditionally.
And you lose. Like I know I have 3 children. For that period of time, I was there, but I wasn't there because my primary existence was just mom.
Yeah. How old is your oldest one?
He's older. He's going to
Okay.
be 23 this year.
We don't have to mention
My kids
ages.
No,
but
they're old. They're young adults, and they are very anti-social media.
it's so interesting because you love taking pictures.
Yeah, and I was told by them, "Can you please not post any pictures of us?" And that's the time that I actually was like, "Okay, I have to let them have that."
But in some ways that's actually kind of nice, isn't it? Like they're
Yeah.
not living online. Maybe do you think that they're more present because of this?
So I
In
think
comparison to kids that are just
no, they're on their phones.
Yeah, Mom.
They are on their phones, but they're not engaged in, I think, posting their life online or too much of it. I know my daughter does a few posts of things that she likes, but
she doesn't want to put her whole life out there.
no. And I think I damaged them that way, but that's fine. I'm good with that.
How so?
Because I just feel like I just said to them, if you don't have something valuable to put out there that can impact somebody else in a positive way, then there's no point putting it on.
That's so funny because that's the rhetoric I lived by for many years to a detriment. Even though I started a business, so many years ago, I was like, I don't really know if I have anything valuable to say, or I don't think I'm there yet, or I was always restricting myself from putting myself out there. And I think that hurt me in my business early on. A lot of things changed, I think, when I met my husband and I started to realize like how he sees me. And he's like, there's a lot of value in what you bring. And he was able to extract that in a very healthy way. So I'm not obsessed with, putting myself out there.
No, it's...
But I always want to make my content valuable for other people.
Yes.
So that's what it ties into.
But that's just it. I think with, you having a business is something you're offering.
Right.
There's a huge difference between that and the age that they're at, my
Yeah.
kids, for example, right? I don't like judging, but to me, when they come and say, this is pointless, we're all watching pointless, like literally, just to kind of drown out our own, whatever it is, right?
Mindless scrolling.
Yeah, we all do it, but it's just...
It's fun sometimes.
No, yes, it is. Absolute. I want to be distracted, right? But I think for the kids, I feel like when you have something substantial to share, you will find a way to share it.
Yeah.
And I'm good with that. It's not that. It's just, I think that age group that they were in when this whole phone thing started with them, I'm like, they were very, very young. I don't want those pictures of you mindlessly in there.
Yeah. I think they're now grown, right?
Yes.
So now if they sort of learn to put some of their work online, like some of their hobbies.
My boys are a little bit more reserved.
Yeah.
My daughter, she posts stuff like she likes to post, and that's it. Very minimal, whatever. It's their own journey.
I feel there's like Gen Z, right? A lot of them are sorted in their headspace.
Yes.
And then there's the other end of the spectrum.
Yes.
So I feel like I see both.
Yes.
And I see both extremes. And then I start to think, I'm like, first of all, why am I even like assessing it, this way? I'm assessing it from being a millennial who has gone through so many like turbulent situations. God, I can't even speak when I think of myself as a millennial, right? And, it's such a different world, such a different lens.
It is. To each their own.
To each their own.
That's what I
this
tell them.
bashing of generations, I guess I've given that up.
It's not necessary.
It's not necessary.
What my world is not my kids' world.
Yeah.
What my world is was never my parents' world.
Yeah.
And it changes. It's always changing.
Always going to change. I'm just concerned with them getting better. For us to hand a better world over to them.
Yes.
I truly carry that in my heart every day, and I think about it, and I'm like, whatever little time I have on this planet, I just want to put something good out there so that I can leave a better world for them.
That's what we want to do.
Yeah. I don't have children of my own, but,
No, but
I do think this way.
I think that having kids it's not necessary for us to be or want to do something because we do or don't have kids. It's just in general, you can be a compassionate person. I want this for the world. That's it. Or I want this for my family, whatever it is. It's, so 100%. It's good. It's all good, girl. It's all good.
So what I want to talk to you about a little bit is like your style of art.
Okay.
The style that you capture. Where does that come from? How did it evolve to this? Because what I see every time I look at one of your paintings, I'm going to call it, there's a mood. Yes. There is this sultriness, the softness, but there is a hint of melancholy.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yes.
And I've always been drawn to movies, stories, music that gives me that range of emotion. And so I see that, and maybe that's why it's your work speaks to me, right? So tell me a little bit about that.
So just like you said, I think each one of us is drawn to a certain kind of emotion. Mm-hmm. And it's, I think, related to experiences from our past that have kind of significantly impacted us that way. That's just part of us. That's just part of who we are. That's the lens we see the world as. And I feel like, to me, when I want to take pictures, when I'm taking the pictures, I want it to be an emotion that sticks. And
just one emotion or just a few?
It could be multiple.
Because I see
like
multiple.
Whimsical.
Yes. I was going to say, I see multiple emotions.
Yeah. Whimsical, something you can hold on to, something that is timeless, something that is forever.
Eternal.
Yeah.
That's what I see. Eternal. That's like a word that keeps popping up into my head. This is eternal. This eternal beauty.
I want the audience to just kind of take a look at it and take 1 minute to look at it. Mm-hmm. Not just be like, oh, that's beautiful.
They'll take more than a minute, but...
I'm just saying, right? Like for me as well, when I see for inspiration, I just look at what draws me, and it images that kind of pause my existence to say, hey, what's going on in here? Mm-hmm. So I want to be able to portray that.
Right.
And there's nothing better than timeless Renaissance frozen images to me, right? It's just that. So I try to kind of create that.
I always sense this like feminine energy in your portraits. And of course, you photograph a lot of women. So if I may move into the topic of femininity, because I feel like that is a hot topic these days. In your own words, like, what does it mean to embody femininity?
Okay. Very different from the past because in this day and age, I think it's better to address the yin and the yang, the balance of it. What is accepted, and what is looked down upon or was looked down upon. I think mostly all of us now have both, but the environment that we live in, the masculine energy is
Dominant?
yeah.
Do you think it's because it's heavier?
It's a to do. Masculine energy is doing.
Yeah, I agree.
It's very rigid. There's less
It's
flow.
cutthroat.
Yeah. And there's less flow. Now, if we talk about flow and rigidity, I cannot flow through my day. I can't.
You can't.
It has to be structured. That's masculine.
That is masculine.
So our day to day has become very concentrated in expectations of,
Masculinity.
yeah. And so to be able to touch base with your femininity is gotten harder and harder and harder.
I agree.
So we are feminine. We're also masculine, but I think the circumstances of today's life, we are more masculine.
yeah.
And we have it, but we're I'm not going to say out of touch because it comes and goes. It's like a flow. It comes and goes, right? In moments, but you have to, it's not rhythmic anymore. You can't stay in it. We're staying in that rigidity
Right.
of life.
Do you feel like sometimes the pendulum is swinging? Things are shifting back to slightly the older ways? Because I find myself thinking, I'm not opposed to women like staying home. I'm not opposed to that thought. Like if I had a child and I want to stay home and take care of that child, like I want to do that, and I would do that proudly. It would give me a different sense of purpose and meaning.
Yes.
And
it's important work.
Yeah, it's important work.
It's very
it really
important
is, right?
Yeah.
And children need time.
Yes.
So I think that's starting to become more and more acceptable now, because I think there's a lot more conversation around that.
I think if your circumstances allow
You, yeah.
it's hard these days, right?
It is.
We all know. Yeah,
In this
is.
part of the world.
It is. And so, if we have the opportunity 100%, and I think that's okay to do. Like I said, this whole thing is very, very dependent on your circumstance.
You know what's interesting? I was listening to a podcast. It was, I somehow came across it because I was watching someone's TikTok, and I think it was a short. So I was like, I'm going to go check this out. And it's this woman who's basically started to create content around, I'm a stay-at-home mom. Our annual income, my husband and I, is $70K, which is really difficult with 4 children. Okay. So her content is around, no, you can do it. You can actually do it. It's just a matter of what you prioritize and what you want from your life. Because, and then she'll show you ways like, this is how we save on groceries. This is how, and the kids have everything. They have money for putting them in extracurricular activities. Like they're not living like, they're just not taking 3 vacations in a year.
Correct.
They're just not living in a massive home. So I feel what's happened, and correct me if I'm wrong or if you agree with me or not, the masculinity has kind of come into play in our society today is because we constantly want this up-leveled life.
Yes.
Right? Everyone is
It's a competition.
It's just constantly a competition.
Yeah.
And then sometimes even I find myself getting caught up in that, and then I just stop myself and I'm like, why do I need this thing? Yes. Why do I keep wanting this next level? Right? Like I was thinking about, I just got my studio renovated, which it needed. It needed a
It looks
renovation.
lovely.
And I'll take you for a tour after. The next thing I was like, I want to renovate. I want to change the flooring in
Everything.
this whole house. But then I thought about how much anxiety I had because my whole life was stopped. Like I couldn't go to the gym. I couldn't cook. I couldn't do a lot of things. You know, I felt just completely out of my element. And I was like, I have floors. You know what I mean? And they're perfectly fine. Until there's like some sort of water damage, why do I need this? Or if I'm selling or whatever.
So this is going to go off in another...
I'm going off in a whole other
But okay, I really want to address this.
Yes,
so
please.
I'm in like the same position.
Okay.
Same thoughts, same pulling back. And then I question it. I'm like, why do I want it?
Why do I want it?
And the answer that always comes up, because I want a space that I feel, I don't know, is it again
Aesthetic.
pretty?
Yeah.
I
for
want
sure.
it to feel a certain way because it feels pretty to me.
Yeah. And that's exactly
Not
what
that it's
I
not
arrived
pretty.
to as well. And then I asked myself, is the stress that you're going to take on, is that going to be worth it?
Yes.
And for some people in certain points in their life, it's okay. For me, I've had so many, you know, hits, I guess you can call it, in my life with, you know, my brother, with, you know, family situations, all of the things that I've had to deal with. I have to make sure I keep my nervous system regulated. I have to always just do things that keep it calm. So maybe in a year it'll change. Maybe I'll have a little more calmness. So that's kind of how I think about it. And it's like, okay, what's in front of you right now? Is this going to significantly change your life? And is this going to make it that much better? So coming back to this mom, her joy and her focus is so, like, she's laser focused on her children. And she has like no desire for all of this noise, right? It is noise ultimately. And she's like, I will enjoy that when the time is right. You know, maybe I'm making content, maybe this channel grows, maybe whatever. I'm not going to, my purpose is not for this end goal because I just want to make sure my kids are good.
But that's it. That's just it. I think there's a phase, right? I've been through that phase where it's like my primary everything was my children. Now I have some time. So now I'm looking at my, you know, storybook a little bit more. It's a new chapter now. So I'm like, okay, let me see if I can do this now.
Yeah.
So I think it just really also depends on the phase of your life that you're in right now and what needs priority and what can you bring in as a different priority.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense. And I guess, you know, after some number of years, maybe, you know, her husband, he works his way up in a company. Maybe her channel takes off. I got to find this post. I'll send it to you. It touched me.
Yeah.
When I
and
saw
it's admirable.
It was
some of these
so
things
admirable.
I'm like, oh, okay, I couldn't do that. I don't think, but
right?
Yeah.
But because I saw that now, that triggered a thought.
yeah.
And I'm going to keep that forever.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to use it to like slow me down if I'm constantly like, okay, this next, the chase. Because that chase, ultimately, I feel it doesn't let you relax. And are we not here just to relax? Like, do we always have to just be this energizer?
No, we don't.
Right? And just like you said, you want that stillness.
Yes, I like the stillness.
You like you want to capture. You just want to pause for a moment. You want those moments in your life. And
It's like looking at an album.
looking at an album.
That's your life, right?
Yeah.
And it's beautiful
It's beautiful.
when you just take those moments and slow down.
You stop and smell the roses.
Yes.
So cliched, but you know,
No, but
so
it's
much truth
true.
to
I
it.
think in my life right now, my moments are so fleeting. I'm like, let's hold on to this now.
Why do you feel that way?
I do. Here I am, like,
Why do you feel that way?
because my kids are so much older. Okay, so typically you're like in your teenage years when you're like, oh, look, I'm alive, sort of thing. Then you're in high school, you're excited about post-secondary, whatever, getting into the next phase, and you're excited about, oh, I think I'm going to find somebody to love and love me back. Then the next step for some people, not for everybody, get a home, whatever. Like, it's just one of those things, right? Those chapters in your life, not for everybody again, but my life went that way. Then I had my children, and now I'm like, oh my God, my kids are older now. Like, they're older. So now my whole thing, just, when they say, oh, it passes quickly, it's done. Here I am. I'm like, oh.
I feel like I can name you so many more chapters that are coming.
No, I know. But I feel, okay, so the motherhood part of my journey is so big, or was so big. Like, you're nurturing these things that you love so much for at least 18 years.
At least 18 years.
At least, at minimum. Although my kids still need me. That's fine. Or don't need me. It's a mix and match. But 18 years is a long time to give yourself up to make these human beings into human beings that need to be without you.
Yeah.
So in that 18 years, you've lost some time there. I want to say.
Yeah.
But not really lost, because you've done important work. So now the next chapter. Did you know at 55 you've lived 66% of your life? So here I am at 50. 66% of my life is done.
Chalo, 40%.
But I'm just, so it makes you pause. You're like, oh, that life went by. So now what do I do? Do you know?
My mom says this all the time. She's like, "Cut gayi zindagi," and I'm like,
yes.
Can you stop? You are living for another 50 years, okay?
I know. I know. Same with my mom.
God bless her. But I don't know. It's just, you start just thinking about mortality.
You do.
Sometimes.
And it's uncomfortable.
Makes me uncomfortable. I've gotten more comfortable with it because I experienced my brother passing. Yeah. It gave me a lot of mixed emotions. Yes. Mostly a lot of good things came out of it, but it made me comfortable with certain concepts.
It teaches you.
Things it's still that teaching me.
Yeah, it does.
It's still teaching me, for
grief
sure.
And loss.
Yeah, huge. Grief and loss. So, bringing it back to your photography work and, just women. You work with women. This space is for women. Yeah. What would you say to women who feel disconnected from their feminine energy? Because I'm sure a lot of them come to you and they're like, I just want to find myself again.
I think most women that have been, photographed by me, half the time, they don't even know why they're there. Yeah. It's the most interesting comment that I've gotten. I don't even know what I'm doing here, but I'm here. I'm like, yeah, it's a good thing. What are you trying to find? And most of the time we're trying to find ourselves. A piece of us that is buried. I never want to say lost. It's there. It's buried. Yeah. Because more important things that needed to be taken care of, you've again gone a little bit more masculine energy, right? To do what you needed to do. So, what is it that is making you put that femininity under the carpet? It's your environment. What in your life? And it's not I'm not saying, oh, look, you're doing something. No, my environment also. There are pockets where I'm like, oh, I need to reconnect. The nurturing part of things.
They must remind you, right?
Yeah. And so to be able to reconnect with first of all, why are you feeling that you're disconnected? What about your life is it that you feel that you're not happy with or is making you question this? I try and extract that in my conversations with clients.
Also basically a therapist.
A therapist.
Yeah.
No, it's fun.
Yeah.
But it's like, I think it's nice to be able to make people think about what they're saying and why they're feeling the way they're feeling.
I think you're just a very deep person. You don't do surface.
I don't do surface.
And I love that about you.
I don't like surface at all.
I don't like surface. Like, it's,
because
there's a place for it.
Oh, yeah.
But I rather get to know you.
Yeah.
Really
at your soul level. Who are you at your soul level? What is your soul about? Yeah. I like that a lot better than just whatever I see.
Yeah. Just on face value.
Yeah. Even with me. It's not this. It's
Yeah.
a little bit
I think
deeper.
both of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? So
This is our podcast
correct.
version, which is also a real version of us. I
Yeah.
think a lot of our conversations are like that.
I love our
But
conversations.
I love our conversations.
We just like go off and it can be hours later. I love it.
From here to there to
Yeah,
here to
yeah.
there. I love it.
Yeah. So
But-
just to like reconnect and kind of sit in that space of what is it that I'm not feeling my feminine energy for? Like, what is it? What is it? I have that challenge these days. And I literally said to hubby, I was like, I'm growing so old just because I'm not connecting with my feminine energy. And he was just like, what? And I was like, okay.
What would you say is like the most powerful transformation you've witnessed in a person in front of you that you've photographed? Like you saw them come in
Yes.
one way and then it's almost like you saw them like break out of this shell after a few minutes.
Yes.
And you're like, who is this person?
Yeah.
Have you experienced that?
Yes. So I want to say I have had quite a few women wanting to be photographed at a point in their life that was challenging.
More
And
often than not, I guess.
More often, yes. I had one person who's a very close friend of mine now asking to be photographed to be able to come out of that. Because there was so much doubt, self-doubt, doubt about where her life was going, what's next, all of that, you know, like that
And
dip
she kind of
in life.
knew that that's
I think it's just about being able to see yourself.
in a certain lens.
Yeah. And I love this because it's your own validation from yourself rather than someone else, right? So we photographed her. And
Do you think sometimes it can make it worse for people? Because sometimes, you know, we were just talking about this earlier when we were doing the mic check. I can't listen to myself. Oh my gosh, I hate my voice.
no, but I think there, you know, we are our worst
critics
ever. But people don't see that. We see that in ourselves. People don't see that. And it's the truth, right? Like I can look at myself and be like, oh my God. And my kids will be like, what are you on? Like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, no, but you know, da 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 da. And they're like, no, we don't see it that way. So ourselves, we criticize so much. So I think it was powerful because she wanted to see herself
a certain way.
that she was, but that part of her life right now was broken. And to be able to, for her to get over that was her want and her desire to see, this is still me. Look at me. And beautiful pictures, but look at me. And I think that changed her. And she's always told me that. Like, I still remember the point where you did these pictures and it was the lowest point of my life. Oh my gosh. And I'm like, but it's still you. Your life being quote unquote challenging at a certain point does not equate to
who you are in.
Or you not being worthy or whatever it is, right? It's circumstances, it's life. It comes and it goes. And life is like a river. It will flow. It will keep flowing, right? So you have to be ready for that change. There'll be a bump. There'll be a dip. But you'll flow.
Yeah.
So.
And maybe that session taught her to flow.
Yeah. And, you know, like I said, we're still friends. And she's figured it out, which I'm so happy. And she's like a little sister, too.
It's so satisfying to see, right? A person, how they've morphed.
Yes. I'm in a networking group right now. And I've had, you know, I did a presentation and I had women that came and said, you know, right now is not the good time, but I so want to get pictures done. And I always have told them, I said, now is a good time as ever. Yeah. Because you're still you. And it's not me. I'm not pushy about getting women to get portraits done, but I'm just like, why not now?
Right.
I just want to know why not now. And leave it at that. So it makes you think, yeah, why not now? And I know, like I said, you know, I want to lose a little bit of weight or, you know, I want to do this first or I want to, whatever it is. It's fine. But you really need to think, why not now?
Yeah.
What are you waiting for, really? But we'll wait. It's fine. I'm here.
Yeah.
Whenever you want to do this, it's fine.
You have to be doing this forever. Seriously.
Okay.
If you ever stop, I think it'll kill me.
Okay. We'll do you all the time. Don't worry. We can take pictures of you all the time.
You just know how to get someone to pose, and you just pull this just sultriness out.
I try.
But in the most classy way. And that's something I've noticed in your boudoir shoots as well. So on the topic of boudoir, and as I mentioned, I think your style is just so classy. Do you think people have the wrong idea of what boudoir is? Because sometimes I see, I guess, hashtags under certain portraits, and I'm like, that's not boudoir. That's just sleazy. I'm sorry.
No.
And I've seen...
Okay,
yeah.
so to each their own.
To each their own.
I have no qualms about any of it. The way you want to be seen is the way you want to be seen. Yeah. It's not my path to walk on, or to shame you, or to judge you, or to encourage you. Yeah. Either which way.
Thank you for reminding me for a second that I slipped.
No.
That's why I need you in my life. You're right. You're absolutely right. That's what
Look,
no judgment.
I try not to. I do. My kids say, you judge so much. I'm like, yeah, I do, but I do, but I don't. So at a deeper level, I know that everybody's coming from their journey.
Yeah. It's just, it may not be for me. And that's
just it. So, but for me, what I find is a little bit of femininity and a little bit of strength. Mm-hmm. It has to look a certain way. And I think it comes from how I would want that session to go for me. Mm-hmm. It is not about, to me, again, to each their own. There has to be intrigue and mystery. When a book is closed, I don't know what's in there. Mm-hmm. When a book is open, I can read it all. Mm-hmm. To me, I feel like there has to be, again, that emotion that pulls you in to try and figure out what's going on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I need a second look.
Yeah, like wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. And I think my boudoir sessions, I like it so that it is, I want to say, on the cusp of glamour and boudoir.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can't say it's glamour, but you can't say it's fully boudoir either. Mm-hmm. It has still got that very emotional connection to the viewer. Mm-hmm. To be able to say, hold on a second, she doesn't look like, what is it? But isn't it? But I'm comfortable with it. People get very uncomfortable looking at certain images.
Yeah. Especially in the South Asian community.
And I don't want that. I don't want that for myself. So hence, this is what I offer. Mm-hmm. I want you to be able to still take a look at it and maybe even show it and be okay to show it.
Without showing too much of this person that you photographed.
I think there's a lot of judgment there, right? Like that is a whole different topic. But I just
I'm going to ask you about that. You know that, right? Okay. I'm actually very curious on your take on this. Like in the South Asian community, do you think it's still a taboo?
It is.
And even with the way you film or you photograph?
It's not openly discussed. Mm-hmm. I think there's generations and generations and generations of shame. Mm-hmm. I think it still continues. Doesn't matter. We're in 2025. Doesn't matter. Like we're here. Sure, we might be a little bit open. We might not be a little bit more open-minded about it. Back home, okay. But there's a layer of protection there that comes with being feminine. Mm-hmm. That is drilled in our head because society just sees it that way.
Right.
So it's not discussed. Mm-hmm. We're willingly or unwillingly just quote unquote protected that way. Yeah. Right. And I mean, like I said, to each their own. You are more than welcome to go out there and do whatever you want. It is okay. Yeah. It's not okay. I have my own values.
That's it. Yeah.
I want to be seen a particular way. Mm-hmm. And the way I get seen for me has to have this kind of depth to it.
Yeah.
So, no, it's not openly accepted and talked about. And it's like, it still happens. And it's fine. It's okay. I have a daughter. I've always told her since the beginning there's a very fine line between classy
I've always said that.
and,
And trashy.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so, do you remember that song, Crazy Kiare?
Yeah.
Okay. Like, hello. She grew up with that one. And she would sit there and stare at it and be so like, oh, wow.
It's also Aishwarya, right? Like you just can't.
But when
help
your
it.
daughter, I'm sorry, I'm not speaking for anybody else. There's a certain way I want to do my parenting.
Yeah.
And a certain way I want my daughter to carry herself. Okay? I have often been told that when I dress up or whatever and I'm in a, party, whatever, oh, you look so classy.
So classy.
Okay? So
I remember you from my wedding. Sometimes I pause. I pause when I see you and your husband, and I'm like, this royal couple in white and beige. Anyway, continue.
So I want her to carry herself with that class. You can, and I remember having this discussion with her about halter tops. And I said to her, I think she asked me if that's allowed or not allowed or whatever. And I said, you can look very classy with a halter top, and you can look really, really not so classy with the halter top. It's all about the way you carry yourself, right? There's elegance in there. So I want my images to have that elegance. I don't want it to be shameful or embarrassing or a gossip piece
Right.
in our community. Because everything can turn into a gossip piece. We know that, right? So I think I just like it on the border. Like you can, but you can't. But you can, but you can't.
Yeah.
You can't say. And I like it that way. So I just offer that. And I know,
I may have been scarred earlier on in my career. I think that's probably why I had this knee-jerk reaction to this topic. So, of course, when you start off, you'll take any photo shoot, you'll take everything.
Yeah.
And I did this collab with a photographer and the model, and it was supposed to be boudoir. So I started looking up boudoir and like the looks, and it was, supposed to be smoky and, all, very, very sultry. And I was excited about it because the images I came across they were sultry, not sexy.
Yep.
Maybe my algorithm at the time, which was so many years ago, just showed me that. It was just a Google search. And then I was really excited. So she actually came to my home studio to get ready. And I wasn't aware of she just told me, I was like, I'm going to be wearing this corset.
Yeah.
Corset can be anything,
I
right?
would wear a corset with a sari, but that's fine.
I love corsets with a
Oh
sari.
my God. Okay.
That's like, okay, another topic, because that's my jam.
Yeah.
But I took a corsetry and bra making class once. I'll tell you more about that later. But I was just like, obviously I was inexperienced and I didn't know to ask to see the wardrobe. I was just like, my makeup's going to look good on anything you wear, and it really did.
Yeah.
And then I saw the photos at the end and I was being tagged. I think this was like when Facebook just had that feature. It was like Facebook times, right? I wanted to die with Charam, right? I was so embarrassed because I was like, this is my work, and I didn't know what to do because I didn't want to insult the photographer. I didn't want to insult I understand like this is what you wanted to do, but I was like, my name is attached to that. So I had to untag myself. And I don't know, I still till this day wonder if I did the right thing, but I was just not comfortable because to me, like if you're sitting on a bed with your legs wide open and that's the pose,
To each their own.
To each their own. But to me, I was like, I was taken aback.
But this is just it. I think it's how do you want to be seen?
Yeah.
And right off the bat, I've only attracted clients that resonate with my images.
Exactly.
You'll just come, right? You're going to attract what you show.
100%.
Okay? And so when I do these, it's just that. But coming back to what your experience was, it is traumatizing.
I was traumatized.
Because you're like, this is not what I wanted. This is not me.
And I just felt like my work and my time just was completely like wasted.
Yeah.
I was just low about it, and I was confused. Like, oh, am I being judgmental? Is this right? But I don't want this on my Facebook. I don't want people to know this is the kind of work I do. Yeah. And then you know how things start to happen around you because you're like vibrating that way. Somebody, I think it was an acquaintance. They're like, have you ever thought of like handing out your cards at strip clubs? And it's really good money.
That's next level.
And I was like, I just let this person speak, and it's like really good money. They're very they're regular. It's the kind of makeup like that I used to love bold makeup at the time, not so much anymore. I like everything soft. Yeah. But I wanted to do the glitter and I want to do all these things, right? So for a moment I was like, it's not a bad idea. Yeah. And I want to do hair extensions and blah, blah, blah. But then I was like, I don't know if that's what I want to be known for. Yeah. Right? Again. I mean, all the power to them. They're hardworking women have to.
No judgments.
No judgment at all.
I don't know your life. I don't know what.
And they're just crazy strong on top of that. I took a pole dancing class with a group of my friends. Yeah. I think like it was like the first level. It was so hard, but it was so fun. It was like one of the best workouts I've ever done in my life. And I was just like mad respect to these women, right? But I don't know if I wanted to do makeup around that just because of exactly what you said. Yeah. So there is a sense of taboo, I guess, in our community. And I think I'll admit to it, as much as we are progressive women, but there is an element of being, I guess, I don't know, conservative?
Yes.
Is the right word?
Yeah. Right? And I don't think we can get rid of it.
I don't think we can.
I think, we try. We're open. Like,
but don't you think it's grounding a little bit?
Yeah, it is.
Being conservative. Do you think that as women age, I've noticed this about myself, I'm becoming more conservative in my thought.
Yes.
When I was younger, it was just like, okay, little tiny little blouses and then but now I think about like the environment that I'm in, and it's not just about clothing, it's also about like the thought, right? In my early 20s, I would think I'm never in my life going to be serving breakfast and lunch and dinner to my husband, and here I am, and I'm so proud of it. I'm really, really proud because that is my role and that is my responsibility. And I love how I posted it once on Instagram. And I don't know if this caused like people to become self-conscious because it's never not been brought up since. Oh, you're so lucky you get this in your hand. Or it's like, I don't know, it was noticed. And I don't know if they see me as someone who is submissive. Because one thing I'm not. This submissive.
Is the issue. You see this? Now, this is the issue. Another discussion. Right? Because we can go on about this. Yeah. Do you enjoy? And what is submissive? What do you mean by submissive? My mom's not submissive. If she gives me a thali full of food, is that submissive? You put a man in the equation. If I give my husband a thali of food, that's submissive? Yeah. Why? Where is that? Where is love? Where does love come into this?
Exactly.
What is the submissive?
And what about knowing that you are leading in this particular department in your home? The diet and what goes into how we nourish our body is my role. And I take that very seriously, and I'm very nurturing. My husband works so hard. Love. He works so hard just to make sure I can be a queen, right? And I know this sounds so cheesy, but
it's not cheesy. Sonam, it's not cheesy. I just feel like there's too much judgment. Too many people like, no. Yeah. Okay, so but
I've never stopped hearing that, that comment, and it's fine. They're my friends. They're allowed to pull my leg. So here's every once my question
to that then: where is that judgment coming from? So when let's me and Deep, why are you feeling this way? Why do you feel that one of your friend serving her husband or taking care of his food or whatever is submissive. What is it about your life
That's exactly
that
what
you
I'm
feel
wondering.
that you are submissive about? Let's turn that around, because to me it's not submissive.
Not submissive.
To me, you know, my husband will get me a glass of water in the middle of the night if I need
Exactly.
it. Is that wrong? But if I did that, then that becomes what?
That's exactly it.
Why is that?
Why is that? But
Why
I think
does
it's
that make me so
submissive if
mad?
you are required to do this.
Correct.
You have to
there's-
drop everything, and we don't care if you.
And there's disrespect.
Then that's disrespectful.
You know, submission has an element of disrespect.
Yeah, it's
So
just essentially
interesting.
like the feminine elements of my life. I'm winning. I do feel that way.
Yeah.
And this is where I feel like I'm in my truest
I love that.
state.
I love that.
I never
and
thought.
is your environment giving you enough nurturing to be vulnerable? Because that is femininity.
Yeah.
A lot of the times there's an association with that, right?
Yeah, the
Can
environment.
I take my armor off and not go to war?
Yeah.
So if you guys are okay with it, my environment, I'm going to take my armor off
Yeah.
and I'm going to be soft.
Yeah.
I'm going to feel vulnerable.
And I've finally been able to be that way, because up until I wasn't married,
Yeah, you were at war.
I was at war with everything.
Yeah.
And it was exhausting.
Yeah. So this is beautiful.
Yeah. And I think that came with the element of like being independent. And I moved out at like 23 and I bought a house, and like it was
It's
all of that.
surviving, right?
And I survived, and I was just like constantly this warrior.
Protecting the femininity at all times too. If you're surviving and you're having to be bold
Yeah.
and do
Mm-hmm. And
be
protect.
rigid, you're also protecting that
Yeah.
femininity, right? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so
It's so
interesting how
interesting.
intertwined it is, and how I think people read it wrong sometimes. At least I think it's read wrong multiple times.
Yeah, so I know we talked so much about all these different topics, and I think they do matter when it comes to us as women, and we're women in business, and often, our masculine and feminine energy are at war with each other, right? So I want to kind of come back to more of your business. Like, how do you structure that? How do you advertise yourself? How do you put yourself out there? What do you do? How do your clients find you?
Word of mouth.
Really? And that's it. It's just
Pretty
strictly...
much a lot of it. It's, I would say 90% of it.
Yeah, come to think of it, I guess that's how we met, right? Like, I met you through a model,
Yes.
and we did a shoot together, and I was just like, wow, obsessed. And then we did some shoots together, which I just wish the publication it went to didn't flush it into the toilet with their print quality. I'm not going to name who that is, but that was like the biggest disappointment of my life.
It's very important, right? It's the most important thing, actually.
Yeah.
In the print. But I don't market myself much. It's word of mouth. People know my work, so they send others there. When I meet people and they find out, I'm not about pushy sales, or my photography does not define me. And so if you like me and the conversation comes up, then even to me, if I like the person, then I'll look at what you do and maybe, we'll take it the next level. But if not,
Do you find that you choose your clients, like you're choosing them as well? And you
100%.
say, hey, I don't think that I am for you. Like, have you ever had that conversation with a client? Like, my style is not for you. If
yes.
they're trying to sort of hijack your entire process.
Yeah, no, it's right in the, first, I want to say the first layer of inquiry. What are you looking for? It's right away we need to have a chat.
Yeah.
And then we'll figure out what I'm always asking, what is your vision? And if it is nothing that is on my Instagram, what I show is what I sell. There's no deviation from that. If you don't like it, or if it's something different, then I ask you, have you looked at my Instagram? Because this is what you could come from a referral, but you could have another vision. And if it's not syncing, then I am open to letting you know there are other photographers. I can refer you, whatever it is. But to me, if we're not going to do a nice dance together, then you need to find another partner.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
I actually function like that as well. I need to talk to the person.
Yes.
I need to sit down, understand their vision, because it's a home studio at the end of the day, right? And I know you had a home studio too. It's like now I'm inviting this person into my very intimate space, right? And the energy they carry really, really
Comes
matters.
in. Yeah.
It comes in.
100%.
So I just need to have my sage ready and all of that in case I'm just totally
Befores
kidding.
and afters, no.
Right. But yeah, I can't work with people that are that picky and that like particular to the in a sense where I love it when they're clear about what they want. I love that they can communicate, these are the tones I like. Yeah. This is the mood I like. Like they have, when they're organized that way, I love it. Yeah. But if it gets to the point where they're just twisting you and they're like just making you run in circles, I can hear that in their voice right away. Like they're unsure a lot of times about what they want. And you'll notice with the way they respond to you, they're going to be like, "Oh, but you just said this." And they'll try to twist your words around. So that's a sign. Like
red flags.
That's a red flag right away.
You can't tell me what to do.
You can't,
because you have come to me for a service that you like or you've seen or has been referred from somebody. Okay. Now, first thing is you have to take a look at what I do.
Yeah.
Don't modify your vision because of what you're seeing on my profile or what I have done. Yeah. Because we can pick it up. And you will not dictate. I'm sorry. You will not dictate, my art.
An artist's vision.
I have my...
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. This was the conversation I had with Maria.
Yeah.
As well. Like, I'm an artist. You're hiring me for these.
Correct.
Right? And
it's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay not to have be on the same page about things. Yeah. There's a lot of people that can do what you need done.
Yeah.
And I'm more than happy to refer you to them.
Yeah. And it's funny, this is actually making me think of a situation recently. Every once in a while, I don't know, my brain, just the way it is, like, challenge accepted. I'm doing that less.
Yeah, now. I don't do that anymore. I don't need a challenge.
You know what it is? It's because my brain sometimes starts to want to see the good in the person. It wants to believe, no, okay, there's something there. I think I can get through to you. You're not entirely trying to intentionally be a pain in my ass, right? You're obviously going through something and you're confused. So my brain starts to do that just out of niceness. Like, I know you're probably scarred from your previous place, but I knew exactly how this is going to go in my subconscious. But part of me was like, no, I think you seem very reasonable. And I think, like, I understand, I was trying to pacify. But then I had to do 4 consultations. And then at the end of everything, her version of honey was different. She actually wanted copper.
It's 2 different.
Complete different. So what it came down to is, like, you don't even understand color. Like, you're not even reading color the same way, right?
Yeah.
And you're not remembering what we're discussing, what was, like, I would write everything down in WhatsApp. Yeah. I'm like, you can't wash your hair don't wash your hair within 48 hours. Yeah. Don't use oil. Even if it is, you've gone through the 48 hours, you've kept your hair for a week. Moment you put oil in your hair, like tel, right? And you do a champi. She literally told me, she's like, yeah, but I do champis. I'm like, you can't. I'm sorry, but that's the limitation of this service. You are literally going to strip the color molecules out of your hair. And
see, okay, so there's a respect.
That's it. There's a
respect.
If
you are coming to me for a service, this is what I offer: A, B, and C. If you're coming to me and your canvas has 1 stroke of paint in there and you want me to color the whole thing for you with you, that's absolutely fine. If you bring me a diagram that is fully colored, it might not work out.
Yeah.
Because maybe I can, maybe I can't. Now, what if what you're bringing in is not something I want to even do?
Yeah.
Again, I'll find you somebody else.
Yeah.
Because that is my time invested. I already know very rigid clients that come in with a vision that is so, set in stone. It's hard to move them. Those for me are red flags. Yeah. If you have something that you are open to, they're keywords I'm always looking for in my initial consultation, right? And if those are present, great. I can move it where it needs to go.
Yeah.
If they are not present,
Yeah.
I can try. But there's ways that it's just not going to work, and I'm okay with that.
And I'm okay with that.
I'm okay. You're okay, and I'm okay. Carry
Honestly,
on.
2025,
Carry on.
making it a point to not let that nice part of my brain take over. You see that red flag. Now I know. Now I've actually listed it out. If they're winding you up, if they're coming with more than a clear vision of what they wanted, and there's no boundary set for them, because they have to be able to understand that there are limitations in certain situations, right?
Yeah. It's
Like,
sometimes hard
yeah.
to get through. And at the end of the day, we have to think about how much time are you investing to convince this client to invest with you.
Yeah.
And is every step going to be difficult? And at the end of the day, are they going to be walking out of here raving about you?
Yeah.
Or complaining about something, and then also the equal exchange of your time and value with the payment. Is it enough for you?
Do you ever have clients that have sticker shock after?
Never.
No.
This is what it is.
Because I feel in the beauty industry, I've heard this a lot. Like sometimes people have this after sticker shock. It's like, I should not have paid X, Y, and Z for this.
No, so you can have it's always more for less. Okay? So if there is somebody that feels like they deserve more,
that's exactly. They deserve more for what
there's always room for negotiation. Right. Always room and what I negotiate is very specific.
Very specific.
Okay? I don't like to make them feel frustrated or unhappy because at the end of the day, word of mouth is huge.
Yeah. And
so I will try to compensate if there's anything that they feel there's lack of. 100%, I'm flexible. 100%. I have done, extensive editing for people that were unhappy, again, with themselves. I don't see it, but sure, I will take that extra time because I want them at the end of the day to pull up these portraits and be like, these are like my favorite ever. Yeah. And she adjusted it this way till it was right. That's what I want to hear. But that's after the fact, right? The client has already invested that much time. But I will not change my pricing. That is non-negotiable. That is it. You take it or you can absolutely leave it. Yeah. So I have a deposit that you make.
That is something I really try to explain to the newer girls that are in becoming hairstylists, makeup artists. Like a lot of people shoot me messages like, I can't seem to, get new clients. Like, should I be dropping my price? Like, I'm like, you rather actually work less if you have to than take on the clients that are not respecting your...
We could do a whole podcast
and I want to.
Value.
I really, really want to.
It's huge.
Really want to. If you...
Money
would
blocks?
Be so kind and come back and do that, really, because I just feel like it just hurts a lot of their confidence. They just feel like they realize that they're not valuing themselves. Yeah, and that's like so it's an internal struggle.
Block, yes, it's a block. There's blocks there, and I struggled with the same thing, but I had a fantastic mentor. And I've worked through my own money blocks with sessions. And now, I've told my own husband, I'm like, how is it? Like, everybody needs to value. It's always equal exchange of services, right? You got to value yourself. Yeah. Yeah. That's all it is. But we'll have another one.
Yeah. I think I like this as a topic, money blocks. Yeah. And just
so many of us have it.
So many of us have it. And sometimes you can develop it even if it wasn't in the beginning stages of your depending on like the economic conditions and circumstances, all of that, right? So I would love that actually. I feel like I'm just gonna have you on a lot. Oh, okay. She's gonna be one of those where you're gonna see her like once a month.
Once a month. Yes, okay. I have so much to say.
You have so much to say, exactly. I'm totally kidding. Like, you're welcome whenever you are available, and I would love to have you. With that, I want to say thank you for this conversation. It's so wholesome.
It always is with you.
Always is.
I love how we can just pick up anywhere
Where we left off.
for any literally sentence, and it can go on into conversations for hours. Well, I just wanted to say thank you, Sonam, for having me. And I'm hoping that we can have a lot more deeper conversations in the future
100%.
about life and business.
God willing.
Yes. Thank you.
Ooh, I told you it wasn't going to be just a basic conversation with Prachi. It honestly never is. This wasn't just a podcast episode. It was a portal, a moment to reflect, to reconnect with your softness, your power, and your truth. If her story resonated with you, even if it was a single part, then please do her and yourself a favor and share this episode with someone you love and someone you think might need to hear this. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. This is more than just a channel. It's really a movement. It's a space for women in Toronto and beyond to be seen in every chapter of their story. Now, whether you're thriving, surviving, dreaming, or doubting, you belong here and you deserve to be celebrated. To Prachi, thank you for holding the space for softness and the power to exist at the same time, and for showing us that vulnerability is not just a weakness, but a window. You're not just taking portraits, you're helping women see themselves in a way that they were meant to. So until next time, stay bold, stay soft, and keep rising. This is the CEOs of the Six, where women write their own rules and make them look so damn good. So see you in the next one.